And in entertainment news, comedian and video game streamer Drake Nelson will begin shooting his movie this week. The comedian from Reno, Nevada, was given a lucrative budget of $100 million to direct, produce, and star in his own film. The film is said to be an action comedy with some questionable and graphic material, and for some odd reason, Drake was given 100% creative control over the project.
Thank you, Buttercup.
The screenplay for DrakeComic the movie was deemed unmakeable. Everyone asked to be part of the project declined to participate. They stated that the script was too vulgar, too vile, and too reprehensible, and that their involvement would cause irreversible pain, suffering, and lifelong shame and embarrassment. This documentary serves as a warning. The producers wanted to explore and investigate why this project was so terrible. Despite the outrageous budget and the promise of instant worldwide recognition for the participants, they chose not to be involved. This is
DrakeComic the movie, it's wild, it's insane. DrakeComic the movie, it'll mess with your brain. DrakeComic the movie, you can't look away. DrakeComic the movie, the talk of the day.
JD is short for John Drake. You know my son as Drake Nelson, a comedian, video game streamer, and small-time pervert. But in our house, we just called him JD. JD played a lot of sports as a kid, and by played, I mean we'd pay all this money to watch our little fat JD wear uniforms that never got dirty because he never got in the game. He was a smart and funny kid, and we loved him very much. He tried every drug he could get his hands on, and we only caught him masturbating once. And by once, I mean like 1,000 times. JD farted his way through film school, but decided to be a pro wrestler. Then when that failed, he became a pro wrestling manager. And when that failed, he became a bouncer. And when that failed, he became a pornographer. And when that failed, he became a comedian. And when that failed, he became a professional video game player. And when that failed, he became a filmmaker. He would have saved us all a shit ton of time and money if he would have shot this piece of trash movie 20 years ago. But here we are, and this message is for anyone who was suckered or blackmailed to be in this movie. I had to be in his movie because I'm his mother. What's your excuse, you money-hungry dirtbags?
So you want to know how I met him? Honestly, I remember how I met Drake. I woke up one morning, I had invited friends to come out for a wrestling show, and they were showing up late, they were driving it, so I just left my key under the mat. So I woke up in the morning, and I walk out to 6 wrestlers and Drake all sleeping on my floor. So you got a bunch of big, muscle-bound pro wrestlers, and then you've got a guy that looks like a beanbag laying in the middle of the floor. And not a beanbag filled with the foam peanuts, but a beanbag filled with shit. Just ooey and gooey. And he's literally he's just got trash and beer cans and stuff all around him. I stood there for a minute and I thought maybe he's dead, because someone that big normally would be snoring so loud, and he was dead silent. And Drake jumped up and I looked over, and it was like a snow angel in the middle of a garbage pile. It was just this big round circle of just empty carpet space, and all around was the shape of Drake, all made up in potato chip bags, and there was a Funyun wrapper, there was some King Dons, there was a couple beer cans, it was trash ever. But that was the first time that I met Drake the comedian.
So I took Drake with me to Vegas, I don't know, 5-6 years ago. We went to Vegas to do a show a corporate show at a Harley Davidson dealership for fucking, I don't know, 6 people, 2 of which were children. And I'm not sure that Drake is legally allowed to be that close to children. It was an awful fucking show, but we stayed in a nice hotel. It was a really cool hotel. And we went to the Golden Corral in Vegas, which surprisingly was my idea, not Drake's. We went to the Golden Corral in Vegas, and I'm always concerned anytime I'm in public with Drake. He had to take me to the hospital once. I was real sick. We were at a gig in Oregon. He had to take me to the hospital. He was pretty heroic, I got to be honest. He kind of had to carry me into the hospital, though he was taking fucking selfies the whole time and posting them on Facebook while I was near death. I did end up overnight in the ICU. But the nurse asked what was the matter, and I was having trouble answering because my blood sugar was real high and stuff. And he told her I was diabetic, and then I broke off half a chocolate bunny in my ass. Anyhow, we're at the Golden Corral, and I get back to the table, and I'm starting in on my taquitos, and I hear a little ruckus over at the buffet line, and I instantly know that it's fucking Drake. And some people are laughing, some people are screaming like there's some terror, and he's drinking straight from the chocolate fountain. He's got his mouth under the chocolate fountain, and it's like it's gushing. I mean, I'm alternately terrified and amused. It was hilarious and scary all at the same time, which is I think I kind of just wrote Drake's bio in 2 words, hilarious and scary. I guess that's 3 words. But so I get him off the chocolate fountain. I talked the guy out of throwing us out so we can enjoy our Golden Corral. We do the show. It's terrible. But we get back to the hotel, and I noticed Drake is talking to this girl at the bar. I'm playing a slot machine a few feet away, and Drake's talking to this girl at the bar. And I mean, I don't want to seem misogynistic, but I don't know. I think she had a hunchback, and I know she had a mustache. But Drake's making his move, and I go back to the room, and then later on, I'm woken up by more ruckus in the next room, and I'm like, this motherfucker, I've already had to pull him out of a chocolate fountain, and now he's in there loudly copulating with a chick with a mustache and a hunchback. And I just banged on the wall, and I was like, dude, I'm just trying to get some sleep, man. And I just heard this maniacal laughter, and he did keep it quiet after that, and I was able to sleep. And then we never spoke about it the next day. He started to bring it up, and I just said, I don't want to fucking, we're just going to listen to a podcast on the way home from Vegas. So that's Drake in a nutshell, in a big fucking nutshell, because he's a big boy. But he did save my life that time when he told the nurse about the chocolate bunny in my asshole.
The first time I ever met Drake, we were performing together. We were doing stand-up comedy, and we were in a tiny town called Lakehead, California. We showed up, and we saw that the venue was called Club Klondike. We both agreed that we were going to do pun jokes to open our show. So we showed up. It's a private show. One table is all just like middle-aged moms looking like they're celebrating like a business, like office birthday. And then one table was all biker gang members. And I think the leader was sitting up front. I'm assuming he was the leader. He had the most patches, Grim Reapers and Limp Bizkit lyrics. He had a milky eye, and he kind of just looked like Andre the Giant and Food Stamps had a baby. Just so much anger and poverty in one man. The show starts, I go up first, and I do my pun joke. I said, we're performing at Club Klondike. I only have one question for the owner of the bar. What would you do for a Klondike bar? And the crowd just looked at me in silence. Food Stamps the Giant in the front row said, you're done. Like I was literally on stage for 5 seconds. It took longer to introduce me than it did to tell my shitty joke. So I get off stage, Drake walks on stage, and Drake does his pun joke. The little solace I had of that night was thinking like, well, at least I get to watch Drake eat a dick on stage in front of Food Stamps the Giant. And Drake goes up on stage and he says, I wrote a song about a tortilla. It's really more of a rap. And the fucking crowd went insane. Like it was the funniest joke they'd ever heard. It was like they were all in on somehow pranking me. Like Food Stamps the Giant was like crying out of his one eye. He was laughing so hard. And that was my first road gig. I hate Drake. I hate him.
So Drake and I mean, we basically grew up together in our adult life. I think I met him when I was 18, and like, he's getting hammered. I think it's New Year's Eve, and for whatever reason, I'm not drunk for once. And I got to DD all these drunk people. And he's got this hat that he loves, and I got this brand new Jeep, man. And I'm driving these people way the like 40 fucking miles out, and Drake's in the front seat like, and he takes his fucking hat off. He's all over my dashboard. And Drake's like, don't worry, bro. I'm going to clean it up. I'm going to clean it up. I swear to God, I'm going to clean it up. Months go by. Years go by. Guess what? I sold that fucking Jeep with your puke in it because you never cleaned it up.
Okay, I remember this one time, me and Drake, he called us out of nowhere. He was like, hey, you guys got to get over here. Stat. These girls want to have a blowjob contest with you. And I'm like, fuck, really? And so, like, we hustle over there, and we get there, the two girls are like, yeah, it's us, whatever. And then we had a blowjob contest, and I'm pretty sure I won. I'm not sure how I won, or what winning means, but yeah, I fucking won that shit. And then I think the next day, Drake called up a Craigslist chick who turned out to be this girl named Big Perm, right? And she just shows up with a fucking 30-gallon bag of fucking Doritos and a 2-gallon bottle of Crown Royal, and gives us the Crown Royal and the Doritos and just grabs Drake and goes straight to the room. Pretty sure he went through 3 beds that night.
All right, so Drake calls me up out of nowhere, and he's like, hey, can you do me a favor? I was like, yeah, sure, what is it? He's like, look, there's this big project I'm working on, and I'm making this movie, and it's going to be like this dirty, raunchiest comedy that's ever been made, dude. It's going to be like crazy. And I've got this part that I think you'd be perfect for, and everybody else already said no. I'm like, yeah, sure. So, you know, what do you need me to do? He's like, all right, so here's the thing. I need you to meet me at a 7-Eleven in Des Moines, Iowa. Okay, why Des Moines? He's like, look, you gotta, like, I can't really explain it, but like once you see the 7-Eleven, you'll just understand like why it has to be that 7-Eleven. It's gonna look awesome. Okay, sure. He's like, okay, so we're at the 7-Eleven in Des Moines, and I'm dressed in my DrakeComic shit, and then you are gonna be dressed in as a centurion. Do you still have that centurion costume that you wore for Halloween a couple years back? Yeah, I still got it. Awesome, right? So I'm dressed as in my wrestling shit, and you're dressed as a centurion. We go into the 7-Eleven, and the manager like looks at us weird, right? Because we go over to like the magazine rack, and like maybe I'm pulling out like some Penthouse or something and looking at that shit and take it from you, and I throw it down on the floor, and I take a huge shit on it. Manager's probably gonna chase us out, and you know, because I'd be mad if somebody took a shit in my store. So I mean, we'll be running out of there. I'm like, wait, the manager doesn't know? Like, you didn't get permission for any of this shit first? He's like, no, because I like wanted his like authentic reaction, right, bro? So like, he'll chase us out of there, and we'll run and we'll jump like Dukes of Hazzard style into like a classic convertible, and then, you know, we'll tear off, and that'll be the end of the scene. I'm like, dude, that's doesn't make any sense, but it's crazy. All right, fine, let's do this shit. And he's like, all right, do you have a convertible? I'm like, or he's like, oh, can you get a convertible? And also, do you have a camera? And that's when I just lost my shit. I'm like, dude, you don't even have a fucking camera? He's like, well, I have a camera, right? But like my phone takes like some pretty sick video, but like, I think we're only gonna get like one shot at this shit. So like, dude's probably gonna call the cops or whatever. So like, you know, we're only gonna get one chance. So I want to have as many cameras as possible. So if you can bring some cameras, that would be great. So that's when I was just like, dude, like you're gonna call me and like
only because everybody else said no and you want me to bring everything in the movie? Like, what the fuck, man? Are you going to ask me to do all this shit? And he's like, well, I could bring a shit ton of weed. And that's when I was like, okay, I'll think about it.
DrakeComic, the movie. Really? Dude, that is terrible. Like, the character he wants me to play, I absolutely hate it. You want a disabled man to jump to the next building like Jason Bourne. Like, seriously? Seriously? Are you guys using your brain? I don't think you guys have the budget for like 5 stuntmen, okay? 5 disabled stuntmen. For $50? Really? $50? No, it's not even enough for me to get a goddamn Uber X, okay? But seriously, like, I'm gonna lose my life over this? Like, this is so stupid.
You know, in his heart, Drake's a good guy. I love Drake. But when he gets his mask on, and he gets into this Drake comic persona, it goes completely off the rails. So here's an example. This is the best way I can describe Drake comic to you. Are you ready? So I'm working on another project with him, right? We're on set. It's something we're both working on. We know other people, whatever. We find out we're going to be on the set that day. I'm there. I'm in makeup. I'm in fucking lederhosen. I don't even remember what the fuck I was doing that day. I'm Kira. So we're sitting around, we're waiting. And I'm like, what's the holdup? Oh, we're waiting on DrakeComic. I said, DrakeComic? Isn't he here already? Well, not yet, but he's supposed to be here soon. So we gotta wait for him. He starts this scene. So we're sitting around, we're waiting. DrakeComic shows up in a 1979 Cadillac limousine. He steps 2 hours late, mind you. Steps out with 2 of the ugliest afternoon lunch buffet shift airport strip club strippers you have ever seen. So he takes these ladies and they step into this trailer. Music starts playing. It's this crazy mix of like 80s hair rock and like anime opening title sequence music. And like 5 minutes goes by and the door kicks open to the trailer. Drake comes out with nothing but his fucking mask and his wrestling boot and like a Ric Flair robe. Asshole naked. He splits this production assistant to come over. He starts telling him about shit he needs in my trailer. I need this shit in my trailer, I told you guys. So this guy runs off. He comes with like a Costco-sized can of nacho cheese, a set of golf clubs, 25-foot fire hose with the nozzle on. Drake goes back to the trailer. The 80s hair music and the anime sequences get louder. Let me tell you about the sounds that were coming out of this trailer. The only way I can describe this sound to you is if you can imagine taking your hands into a 5-gallon bucket of cold oatmeal and clapping like you just saw Hamilton live on Broadway. That's what that shit sounded like. So 30 minutes goes by. Drake comes out of this trailer covered in viscera. Like, I can't even begin to tell you what this man is covered. And he says, I gotta go run and get a pack of smokes and then we'll shoot this one. And he takes off into his 79 Caddy and speeds away. So if you're looking for a professional, DrakeComic's the one to go with.
The first time that I met Drake was actually at a pizza eating contest. Whoever can eat the most slices of pizza in 5 minutes was going to be declared the winner. Now here's where it got weird. Before we started eating the pizza, we were told we had to shotgun an entire pitcher of beer. Our bellies are popping out. You know, I mean, our bellies were already popping out before we even drank the beer. And now the bellies are really popping out. And now here comes the pizza. And here comes Drake. And here he comes. He double fists a slice of pizza. He got 2 slices in one hand. Never seen a man grab 2 slices of pizza in one hand. And he starts and he just tears it up, man, crusts everything. Now, my strategy was ranch dressing. You know, we got to get the ranch dressing flowing, lube up the pizza so it goes down quicker. So I got the ranch dressing. I'm dipping, I'm rolling, I'm mouthing. You know, Drake's just he's grabbing 2 slices at a time. Once the 5 minutes, you know, we'll get about a minute or 2 in, Drake's had like 15, 16 slices of pizza, and I only had about 10, and I was full, you know, again, just from the beer, everything else. Drake's just dominating me in this pizza eating contest, and he's laughing too. So he's eating the pizza, and then he's just laughing at me, just like making fun of me the whole time, saying, you know, that I don't want to pizza him, you know, and yeah, I mean, it was ridiculous. I felt I'm not only insulted, but I felt assaulted because he also took a piece of pizza and he actually slapped me in the face with it. And now I fall over on the ground, and then this guy grabs my bucket of ranch dressing and just pours it all over me. So now he's ate more pizza than me. He's insulted me. He's slapped me in the face with a slice of pineapple pizza, and now he's poured ranch dressing on me. I don't know who this guy thinks he is, but I'll never forgive him for that. Ever.
So I meet this guy back in 2011. I just got done with the show, wild after party. My dick was still whistling after the things I'd done with some of the rats I met that night. Surprised it worked out with the Jack Daniels I drank, but, you know, I was in my 20s at the time, so things worked. I think I'm the last one standing. The ladies just left. Or I'll go to the other room, go to the kitchen, get another drink, cold beer. So I'll open the door. Fucking Drake Nelson sitting there, butt ass naked in a beanbag chair eating Cheetos. What the flying fuck is going on here? It's like 3:30 in the morning on a Wednesday. All right, whatever. He's got a bottle of Jack Daniels, and I look at him. He hands me the bottle, and he's got a nice little white streak right here. And I just left the white streak in the other room. I knew about that, but this was a little powdery substance. And Drake says, "You want a beer?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah, I want a beer." This fucker gets up. There's a fucking shit in the beanbag chair. Now, have you ever seen them cookies they got with the Hershey Kiss in the middle? That's what this fucking beanbag looked like. It was a fucking perfect swirly roll of shit right there in the beanbag chair. And I'm just sitting there like, what the fuck, man? I mean, I've had whiskey dick, but this was whiskey shit.
I remember one time we went on the road together. We did a series of like 5 shows over the course of 6 nights, just going all up and down the West Coast. And we got to this, after this show in San Francisco, we decided to go to one of the nightclubs there. And it wasn't the best nightclub. Drake is not known for having fine tastes. Well, I say nightclub, but I'm pretty sure it was just an abandoned warehouse that he paid some people in crystal meth to, like, be there. I don't really know what their purpose was. I don't know if he was trying to impress me. If he was trying to impress me, it's a very, very bad job. And so I'm sitting there, we're drinking, having a good time. And for some reason, Drake decides, like, hey, Mikey, let's go on a boat to Alcatraz. And I don't know if I'm going to show any pictures of Drake or any, like, full body shots of me, but we're both very large men, and I knew that boat was not going to handle it, but he was just so gung-ho about it, and I was just not having it. And then, so I told him, no, and then I end up waking up in a boat. I don't remember anything between that time. Pretty sure he put something in my drink, or just the glasses were made out of crystal meth, and so I drank it, just got in. I'm not sure what happened, but I'm sitting out in the middle of this boat. Drake is butt naked. He's got a bunch of white powder on his nose, so I'm pretty sure it was cocaine, but also knowing Drake, it could have just been powdered sugar. So it could have been one of the two.
But either way, I'm just sitting on the middle of the boat. Drake's sitting there, and he just looks up to me and just like, "You ready to go for a swim?" And I'm sitting like, "No, it's like in the middle of winter in the San Francisco Bay," and he just bops me on the head, throws me overboard, leaves me to swim, and then he has the audacity to look down at me and just like, "Hey, need a hand up?" And so I reach for the hand, and that's when the boat capsizes, and we're just sitting out there, basically skinny dipping in the bay, and needless to say, after that run, we did not talk much after that, but Drake is definitely somebody I'll never forget. I wish I could, but God, I wish I could forget who he is.
Drake and I hop on a plane. We fly into Vegas. We fucking land. We meet up with a couple of wrestlers there. These guys are Vegas guys. They're party guys. Let's just say there was fucking more cocaine than Carter has pills. Drake has done everything. They ended up nicknaming him Sergeant Snorkel that night. He did at all. There wasn't a fucking ounce of cocaine in Las Vegas that Drake hadn't fucking stuffed up his nose. Fast forward, Drake's hungry. He finds the $3.99 buffet with lobster and crab and all that other crap he likes to eat. This fat piece of shit stuffed his face for 45 minutes before he just passed out in a plate of fucking pasta. Fucking casino wants to kick us out. We've got to fucking drag his fucking dead carcass back up to the hotel room to throw him in a shower just so he wakes up. We get a call the fucking next day or within an hour, and security is like, there's a bunch of banging on the fucking wall in the bathroom. Drake has slipped and fallen and he can't get up. Fucking the bathroom is flooded because his fat ass plugged the hole for the shower. He damn near drowns in a hotel room on the 18th floor in Las Vegas because he's fat and a slob and clumsy. And, you've all seen Drake. So you get to the fucking, it's like 3 a.m. Drake wants to gamble. Anyone knows anything, Drake is bad at 2 things: comedy and gambling. He fucking loses fucking grand in about 30 seconds. And he starts saying, "Oh, I'll do jokes to earn money and blah, blah." And these fucking security guards take his fat ass, they must have been the strongest guys in the world, and threw him out in the middle of the fucking strip and told him never to come back. And that is the last time DrakeComic ever went to Las Vegas.
So Drake and I, we lived together for a little bit. We call it ribbing each other, right? We're always pulling ribs. He'd kind of get me, but one day, we were drunk and then we're hungover and we ate a bunch of Taco Bell. My stomach was, ugh. And I don't know where Drake is. He's probably passed out somewhere still, but I see his phone sitting. And I take his phone and I have the most disgusting, liquid diarrhea ever. But I take his phone because I'm going to take a picture of it. But you can, crystal clear see my reflection in all the shitty water. So I take his phone and I just flip it off, and there's me in this pool of diarrhea, flipping him off, set as his screensaver for a year. He couldn't get me back, man. It was, I probably reached the pinnacle of ribbing people at that point in my life. But, fuck you, Drake.
The very first time I met Drake was horrible. And then the third time I met Drake, I'm explaining to him what a muffler is in pro wrestling. Right? You say it's a piece of toilet paper, you fold it, and then you put it between your butt cheeks so you don't sweat, through your trunks. So he's popping hard for this. He's like, "So I'm gonna put a muffler in and have it in my butt all day." I'm like, "Okay, that's great." This motherfucker does it, right? And then we go by this hot dog stand. He pulls out the muffler. He puts his hot dog, takes it out of the bun, puts it in the muffler, folds it, and eats the whole fucking thing. Disgusting. I threw up for 3 days straight thinking about it.
DrakeComic, he's not funny. I had a show with him one time, and the only thing that was funny was when he pissed his pants on stage. Peed his pants all over the place, urine all up and down his legs and the front of his pants. It was disgusting, but hilarious. He's a funny guy. And then after the show, we were trying to hit on these ladies, and we got him back to the hotel room, and he pulled out his little dick, and it looked like a Tic Tac. It was really small and white, like white. Like, it was weird. I don't know how he got his dick so pale, but it's just this little Tic Tac looking dick, and I don't know why his dick's like that, but it is.
So usually whenever I'm in another city, me and the comedians will go have lunch together or something and hang out. And I invited Drake out to get lunch with us one day, and he said that he can't do it because he's going to be volunteering at a soup kitchen. And so I was like, you know what? I haven't done any kind of community service in a while. I'll join you. And so he picks me up, we go to the soup kitchen, and he told me to wear comfortable running shoes, and I wasn't really sure why. And so we get to the soup kitchen, and he just starts taking all the food from the homeless shelter and loading it into his van. And then we just get in line, and I was like, whoa, what are you? And he tried to tell me that it was because he was going to be taking it to another homeless shelter. And he convinced me. I was completely on board with it. Because I thought there was a surplus at this one location. And then we get in line and we start serving, and he starts pouring arsenic into single servings of homeless people's food. And I was like, yo, what the fuck are you doing? And I was like, well, why are you putting arsenic in the food? And he said, well, the less homeless people there are, the more rations will be available for me to take home with me.
What was Drake like? Yeah, I really don't want to talk about it. All right, well, it's taken me many years, significant and intense therapy to get over this, but Drake and I do go back several years, and we used to frequent the same house as Bill Repute. We've met several times, and we had several, good times, but this particular night, I'd shown up and agreed to meet him there, and he'd been there for a couple of hours already. When I met him at the door, this really just crazy look in his eyes. I'd never seen him like this. He apparently just something. He grabbed me by the arm, and we went to one of the girls' rooms who already was there, and we walked in the door. She smiled and looked at us, and looked down, and in front of her she had this bowl of Skittles. Red, green, and yellow, all different kinds. And I said, I thought to myself, I looked at him and I go, why the candy? I said, we're not going to, eat it or anything. And he goes, no, man, we're not going to eat it. We're going to snort it. I started to think twice about the night, but me being the go with the flow kind of person, I said, okay. So he took a hit. I decided, well, it can't be all bad, so I got the straw, took one of the red ones. The red ones supposedly are the worst because they're made out of the skins of crushed up African beetle. Took the hit. Bang, it was like a shotgun shell to the forehead. The last thing I remember was Drake's face melting off, half of it gone. The woman appearing to explode. It was a bad trip, man. I passed out. I saw God and the devil dancing. I've tried to block it out, but that's all. I can't go any further.
All right, this Drake Collard story includes a tiny bit of secondhand knowledge and a tiny bit of firsthand knowledge. Apparently, this scummy piece of shit tagged his way along into my wedding party. Someone's plus one. Him and another dude. Can't remember his name. Scott Appleseed, Applehead, something. Can't remember for sure. But back to the matter is, they were at my wedding party.
Drake, being the woman's man, if you will, can't see how it happens, but you can't deny that it does, ends up leaving with one of the bride's maids and takes her to the after party, which my wife and I are attending. We proceed to leave, and we are told by other party attendees that DrakeComic was caught, pants around his ankles, banging this bridesmaid in the bathroom. Both parties were told to exit, at which point they proceed to go to the car, where Drake pulls his spandex aside and continues to get a toppy. Once they realize the rest of the party has gone to sleep, they head back inside to the home and proceed to bang out on the futon fold-out bed. At which point the homeowner arises, finds them in the act of carnal sex once more, and says, "Please, I can't handle this. It's 2 a.m. You two fucking rabbits have to leave." So they do. They leave. They proceed to go to the bridesmaid's mother's house and fuck in the living room. Which points the bridesmaid's mother wakes up and says, "I thought you two were intruders. You're lucky I didn't shoot you. Get the fuck out of my home and don't call me. You're not welcome here this Christmas." They leave, but before they leave, the bridesmaid happens to grab the card key to her father's law office and fuck to completion. The following morning, the bridesmaid's father had a hell of a phone call with the security company to explain why they had access to a 2.5 hour long porno that finished with the bridesmaid catching a dominant facial. DrakeComic, needless to say, is banned from any future family events. If I see him on the streets, I just pretend I don't know him. I mean, honestly, it's embarrassing at this point. The guy's just a fucking disgrace.
One of the reasons I chose not to appear in the film is the title is ridiculous. The title is DrakeComic, his documentary about Drake. Like he's pretty self-centered, and a lot of us comics are. And like, I didn't want to have to do like a press tour for the movie and try to remember that stupid title. And I didn't want to have to type that long title in every time I was sharing something on social media. So that's kind of one of the reasons. But before I knew the title, what Drake had asked me to do. Now, Drake and I have been friends for a long time. We've been through some pretty intimate situations together. But what he had asked me to do involved a ferret, and I'm allergic to ferrets, nothing. But also there was some animal cruelty issues I felt with what he was asking me to do with the ferret. There was some spandex involved, some bicycle shorts, and some sort of tank top that I was not comfortable in as well. Drake and I have different comic sensibilities. Drake thinks it's funny to put things in your butthole. I am not interested in putting anything in or near my butthole, including a rodent. Ferrets bite, and they just bite, and they're not going to hurt you or kill you, but it would be uncomfortable. So some of the things he was asking me to do, I love the guy. I love Drake. I wanted to help him and be part of this project, but like, he just was not going to budge on some of the things he was asking me to do. And I tried to work some things out. I was like, well, listen, I'll be in it up to this point, and then can't you get like a stunt ass for the part with the ferret? I mean, I'll wear the spandex. I gave in on that, right? Like, I'm in my 50s. I'm not going to be looking good in bicycle clothing, but I gave in on that. I go, I'll wear the spandex for comic effect. I'll put on the spandex. But I was like, who's going to know whose ass it is with the ferret part? And he has too much integrity to use a stunt ass. So I think that was sort of where the thing just broke, and I had no compromise left to get it done. I mean, I wanted to be in it. I've been looking for somebody, and there was a time when I knew Drake would be the guy whose coattails I could ride to some success. But he wanted to do some things with my coattails, if you will, that I just wasn't comfortable with. So that was really the reason.
Now, you want to know why I wasn't in it? Okay, I'm out here. So there's I'm known for being a pretty wholesome guy, but even I have some sort of standard. Drake, no standards. No morals, nothing. He wanted me to do. It involved 3 large women, a donkey, can of sweet potatoes, and a pitching wedge. And Tijuana. Now, Tijuana's a long ways away. Now, that was one of the big things. It's like a 7-hour drive. I don't like to travel. But these women and the sweet potatoes. He wanted me to do this. Rub the sweet potatoes all over, let the donkey lick it off. Now, the other sweet potatoes that weren't rubbed in, I do a long iron pitching wedge. Pay wasn't that great. That was the big thing. The exposure was good. Come on now. Sweet potatoes, pitching wedge, 3 big girls.
I didn't want to do the movie because he wrote a scene for me that was awful. The scene was way too sexual and graphic. I don't want to get into too much detail, but it involved a cucumber, baby oil, and a capybara. I was going to be sunbathing, tastefully of course, on a boat in the middle of the jungle, and a blue capybara was going to shoot baby oil on me. My son is an idiot. I love him dearly, but I may have dropped him as a baby.
First time I met Drake was in LA about 6 months ago. We were talking for maybe 5-10 minutes, and he started asking me to be in one of his movies. A little weird thing to do. So I said, you know, whatever, man, I barely know you. Send me the script. And it was more of a manifesto than a script. Quite disturbing. A lot of chains. Didn't know why that were chains in a Chuck E. Cheese, but he managed to combine both of them. Apparently, he said he was the night manager. I felt more of a janitor. What happened was, when he wrote, it was a lot of tiny people. Not necessarily midgets, maybe children. You know, their heads were the right size. That was what really scared me. Sometimes you can tell a little person by their limbs. These people had normal limbs, but they're just tiny. And he used most of the animatronics from the Chuck E. Cheese. And he was using the balls that were in the ball pits in ways that I could only describe as Tijuana prostitute would be the best way I could put that out there. That was not actually the worst part, you know. That's kind of fun, you know. I love, you know, spreading things around. Everyone can do their own thing. I love representation of small people or children, not really sure. But then he started bringing in animals, and you think, oh, donkey show. Who hasn't seen it? I have. Pretty cheap, couple pesos, get a good time. He brought in, he shaved raccoons, and then he brought them in with the children. So then there were these shaved raccoons with tiny hands eating pizza with these little people. So I didn't stay long, maybe 2-3 hours, get my pictures, you know, just in case.
Well, I didn't want to be in DrakeComic, the movie. Drake approached me. He'd written a scene that he called Goats, a Love Story. Now, in the scene, it was an all-goat orgy, beside myself, of course. Now, it's not the concept of the goat orgy that was so bad, but it was the quality of the casting. You know, the goats, they just didn't do it for me. That they weren't in the scene, because when they were showing me the goats, it was like, these aren't method goats. They weren't into it. So honestly, you know, I had to turn the part down. And it's from my understanding, it was a key pivotal moment in the movie. So I felt really bad about turning it down. That the goat orgy I don't know if they got a new goat orgy person or if they changed it to a chicken orgy or something else. But I had to turn it down on principle. So I hope, Drake, that you can understand that I'm a man of my word and a man of my principle. So sorry, that's why I couldn't be in the movie.
So why didn't I want to be in Drake, the comedian, the movie, the stupidest title ever? Did you actually read the script? No, like, did you read the script? Like, have you ever read something where just in your soul, you know that like you shouldn't have read it. Like it just makes you feel dirty. It makes you feel creepy. It just like makes the hairs just rise up on your arm, and just you feel like you need a shower at the end. It's just so gross. Like something that, even though you had nothing to do with it, just creatively, you felt like humanity was dropped down a few pegs because what you just read was so fucking just blasphemous, gross, disgusting bullshit. See, if Drake would have wrote something like that, I would have totally been a part of it. But he gave me some scene that involved like a unicorn and farting sparkles, and it was, I don't know, it was just shit. I wanted nothing to do. Look at me. Do I look like a unicorn pooping sparkles type of guy? Obviously not.
So here's the thing about Drake. He offers me this scene, right? And he knows I'm a huge fan of Home Alone. So this is how he pitches it. He's like, hey, Ricky, listen, there's this scene I want you to do, right? And it's like you're Kevin McAllister, but you're not, you're yourself. And then there's two robbers, but instead of robbers, they're two big werewolves that are gay, and they're trying to get up in there. And then I'm like, what? I just want to, so I'm setting traps for these big gay werewolves that are trying to get in my butthole, and he lost me at gay werewolves, because how do you set a trap for that? There's only one silver bullet, Drake, and that's for me to shoot myself in the head because you offered me such a stupid role.
Just like when Drake wanted me to be a part of one of his movies. He gave me the script. You ever heard of Meow Mix and Dicks? That is gross. First of all, do you know what that is? He wanted me to be in a big budget kiddie porn. Not children, but cats. Big budget kiddie porn. How can you fathom a big budget kiddie porn with explosions and a helicopter and jets and me riding on a motorcycle while a cat is licking my nuts at the exact same time? That's what he wanted. He wanted me to have like the Tom Cruise Mission Impossible. That's what he wanted to call it. Mission Impossible with Meow Mix and Dicks. Does that sound like a good idea? No, it doesn't. It does not sound like a good idea. That's why I said no. I'm not gonna do a green screen sex scene with a kitten.
You know, I watch a lot of cop dramas on TV. I love Law and Order and Special Victims Unit and Paw Patrol, but like when it comes to actually being in one, this was my first chance. This was my first chance at 15 minutes on the ground as a corpse. That's what he just told me to lay there. I couldn't twitch. I couldn't be, I couldn't, like have a ghost moment or something. I couldn't be Klinger in MASH, just hanging out next to the corpse as the paramedics take him away, and then Hawkeye has his great one-liner. I can't riff off of it from the ethereal beyond. Like, I'm a talented actor. I was Hamlet twice in high school, and as a result of all this talent just inherently just waiting to burst forth, I have a director come up to you and be like, all right, I really need you for this one. I just lay there. 15 minutes. No, don't move. I ruined 12 takes. Because I had notes. He wouldn't even listen. It just, I'm a thespian, all right? I am a talented thespian. And for him to just say, sit there. No, not even sit there. I had to lay in a weird position, too. Like, the whole time, I'm just fetal position. Who dies like this? I kept saying. He's just like, shut up.
When Drake first asked me to be in this movie, I had some reservations at first, just because knowing Drake and his history with some of the seedier characters and his willingness to look past some things that should not be looked past, it just made it really tough for me to say yes. But he finally wore me down. He sent me a jar of mayonnaise that just said "you in," and I was just so curious about this. I was like, all right, let's give it a shot. I got a jar of mayonnaise out of it. And like he told me like, oh yeah, we're gonna be working with animals. We have these like Hollywood trainings out there, and I'm like, okay, let's see how this goes. Like, I'm not a big fan of dealing with animals in the first place. But I just decided, let's roll with it. Let's see where this goes. Maybe this could be my big break. Then I get to the set, and there were animals. It turns out the animal trainer was not who he said he was. And the animal was a 15-foot boa constrictor. And the animal handler was his 3-year-old nephew. The boa constrictor was the pet that Drake gave his 3-year-old nephew, thinking that was a good idea. And so I just showed up to set and see this child in the boa's mouth, and Drake is just sitting off the corner like throwing sticks at the snake, trying to get it to stop eating his nephew. And at that moment, I just knew it just wasn't for me. But I still rolled around with it just to see if I could get maybe some more mayonnaise out of it. And then but I kept going with it. And then when it came to this part, I was done. A luchador comes out, and he's got this mask on with a chainsaw in his hand. And at that point, I'm thinking, if this was any other movie, not by Drake, I would trust the fact that that is a chainsaw-trained ninja wrestling guy. But knowing it was Drake, I ran for my life, because odds are he probably found that luchador in the back of an alley and gave him $5 and a whole bottle of crystal meth. So at that point, I was just done. Like a couple months after that, Drake came up to me and like he tried to get me to do his other movie, and I just told him no immediately. And he's just like, wait. This one's international. And I'm thinking, oh fuck no, we are not going to Taiwan. We're not doing any fucking Vietnamese, Taiwanese whores with dicks. Like, I'm not doing it. And so yeah, I really pray to God that this movie never gets made. Not just because I know it's going to be terrible, but the fact that I fear for anybody involved with this.
Oh my gosh, this movie, I fell in love with it when I first heard about it, but I have to say, there were some parts that I was kind of skeptical about. As I was going through the script, everything sounded good. Drake decided to just let me come along on a trip to Las Vegas, get me to come in, feeling good about the project. And so, I felt loose enough to go in and go say hi and see what the project was all about. So when I got there, I was greeted by 2 beautiful women, gorgeous women. So of course, why am I not going to go in on this deal? Anyways, they take me to the limousine. This seems like a high-class production. I'm really in on this deal right now, So I'm thinking high-class hotel, champagne and bubbly with the girls in the limousine. I'm feeling it. So we get to the hotel. I'm thinking, I can't believe Drake can afford this. I get up to the room, getting ready to get freaky with these girls. And all of a sudden, they told me they had everything ready for me. It was going to be a Jell-O match. And I had to dive into the Jell-O. I'm swimming in the Jell-O. And I pop out, and here's Drake standing right in front of me. He's got on a whole entire Lucha Libre suit. And I'm thinking to myself, is he going to dive into with all this Jell-O? Oh my goodness. So we got all the people covered in Jell-O. This is the stickiest room you've ever been in. I couldn't believe it. So I have Drake jump into the Jell-O with me. We're chilling in the Jell-O. He's like, how do you feel about the project? I was thinking, man, this is the shittiest movie I have ever fucking seen. The shittiest movie. How can he wrangle me in with Jell-O midgets, hot girls, champagne and bubbly? How can he afford this budget? How is this budget gonna afford all of this? I don't even know. So now I'm sitting here thinking, I'm all over this, Drake. This is the worst movie I have ever seen. You can count me in.
So you want to know why I don't want to be in DrakeComic's movie? Honestly, the idea sounded fine for a second, but then he started talking about what he wanted me to do with this fucking thing. How comfortable are you with like a porno scene? Like a porno scene? I mean, what are you talking about? I go, what the fuck is the matter with you? Now he wants me to do an oil wrestling match with some 600-pound chick. I'm like, dude, what is it with you and fat porn? I mean, come on, can we get real here? I'll be in the movie if you can get off the porn shit. And so finally he comes at me with this weird wrestling scene, some kind of weird like goth demonic shit going on. I'm like, okay, so now first it's porn, now we're devil worshiping. Like, Jesus, dude, can you pick something that's normal? This guy's out of his fucking mind. Does it have to be fucking religion? Like, first it's porn, then it's religion. Like, can we get on a neutral ground? Jesus, dude. I mean, come on. So then he comes back. He's like, let's do like some kind of disaster thing. Like, let you be the hero. But at the end of the day, like, you make it out, but like, you didn't rescue like the baby. I'm like, so first it's porn, then it's religion, now we're killing babies. What the fuck is wrong with this guy? Can we just come up with some normal shit? You know, I mean, are you trying to sell the movie that bad that you gotta kill babies? Or you gotta have like demons and devils and dark angels and holy wars? I mean, at the end of the day, like I told him, just fucking, you know, just fucking come back with something that I can use. So I wanted to do it, but I really couldn't do it. And so, yeah, that's what happened. That's why I cannot be in this movie.